Hi, Blonde Alphabet here. I thought it'd be cool to do sort of like a Spiderbro 2 post-launch evaluation. I kind of did the same thing for Spiderbro 1 at some point, and I don't know, I find it kind of cathartic or somewhat important to consider the lessons learned. What I think we did well, what I think we kind of failed on, and sort of how it ended up like that. The lessons that we can carry forward and hopefully use to make much better games in the future. So yeah, Spiderbro 2 is a very interesting one because it didn't begin off as really as a Spiderbro game, at least not Spiderbro 2. Development started kind of almost immediately after the first one came out. Maybe a few months had passed, but it began off as sort of like a spin-off. It was going to be a lot shorter, potentially a lot harder as well. I know that'll sound kind of ironic considering the game is kind of hard, but it's from that sort of hard nucleus, like the first sort of things, from which the difficulty of the game sort of came from. And I wanted it to be like totally opposite to Spiderbro 1. Spiderbro 1 was the puzzles were quite easy, or at least so I felt. I think most of the puzzles were easy in Spiderbro 1, yeah. So I wanted to make it a much harder game. I wanted it to be sort of like two polar opposites. And it was just going to be a spin-off game called Spiderbro that had the Shadow Guy as the main character. That ended up carrying to the end game, which makes you wonder why we didn't call it Spiderbro in the end. But yeah, the initial vision was just sort of getting to grips with developing different styles of games with my engine. It was intended to be a free product with Spiderbro, and this is all whilst we work on an even bigger game that, goodness me, has been in development since 2019 kind of at this point, but we're still working on it. It's kind of in development hell. We've had a lot of problems, and believe me, the video I release after releasing that game is going to be kind of interesting because again, very different, but I think the story for that one's for another time. I digress. Spiderbro 2, it was just, well, Spiderbro at this point in time. It was just going to be another little freebie, kind of like the first Spiderbro, but in a lot of ways the polar opposite, so much bigger maps. Spiderbro was a lot of tiny, very small maps with very little going on. I held back a lot in terms of using the engine's features and went for a very much more streamlined and just constantly pushing the player forward approach, whereas Spiderbro I wanted bigger open areas with lots of items, kind of like how the finished product ended up being. But it was only going to be 3 levels, and it was not going to be that related to Spiderbro at all. It was just going to be a totally different story and not be connected, which is not ultimately what ended up happening. So at some point I get made redundant from my job. I worked at an eco store. It was a lovely place. I do kind of miss it, but sadly the pandemic was really rough on them as far as I'm aware, and yeah, sadly the place had to close down. That meant I was out of a job, and since I was making video games, I just thought, let's make a company, To be fair, it wasn't my thought originally. I actually kind of felt that we probably weren't ready, and it's still something I stand by, actually, because we haven't actually made any money. But the consequence of actually creating a company is that it kind of kept the job centre off my ass a little bit, at least for a time. Long story short, we made the company. I co-founded it with a good friend of mine, Sarah, who ended up being executive producer for this. And with the idea that, like, now we're a company, we have to make a profit, that's when Spiderbro became Spiderbro 2, because suddenly it was like, oh, we can't really give this game away for free. It has to be a paid product to satisfy everybody, it seems. Everybody. To satisfy everybody, it has to make a profit. Now, I always felt deep down that I really wanted to release a few more free games before I start charging for them. For me, Beneath a Night Sky is going to be one that we're charging for, especially since it's taken us like 5 years so far. But Spiderbro, like, I do all the art, and I don't credit myself in the credits for doing the art because I'm fucking embarrassed, right? And in Spiderbro 1, it was like, okay, you can't really call that art because it's just lines, like, it's incredibly minimalistic. I suppose you could technically call it art in Spiderbro 2 at this point, especially when I did like a lot of animations and stuff, but I'm not an artist, and I don't think I had any right charging for my trash, essentially. But hey, at the time, the focus was we have to make a profit, we have to prove ourselves. So no matter how I felt, I had to try make this into a bigger product, essentially. I had to be like, okay, we're doing more levels. It's not going to be Shadowbro. Nobody knows what the hell a Shadowbro is, but we can call it Spiderbro 2. Everybody will know what that is. So that makes it easier to market. So that's when the game officially sort of begun to change. And yeah, we ended up with Spiderbro 2, ultimately. We tied it into the plot of the first one in a really weird way. And I think the word weird with Spiderbro 2 probably sums it up the best, because that's what I steered into, essentially. I like weird stuff. I understand most people don't, maybe. So now that I'm looking back upon it, to quote a famous movie guy, I may have gone a bit far in a few places. I think that I definitely went a bit far in a few places, and it's I don't think it's the worst game in the world, but I can understand nowadays why it alienates people, it feels like, and it is nowhere near as popular as the first one. The first thing I should probably say is I apologise to my employees for sort of letting you all down on this one. You all trusted my direction, and I'm not entirely sure if my direction should have been trusted, all things considered. So I perhaps should have been more open about the development of this to my other employees, because I was doing all the art. I was essentially doing everything except the sound. I should have probably communicated these ideas better, and I should have probably, like, instead of just going, oh, don't worry about it, it's going to be great, trust me. I should have maybe been like, oh yeah, this is what I'm planning, and maybe heard feedback and other ideas, because with the future games that we're currently deep in development with, that's exactly how it is, and I think that's to the benefit of the product altogether. So yeah, I was a little too insular with the creation of this game, and I was definitely steering into weird, which wasn't perhaps the best approach. Now, in the end, we did try charging for this game upon release, and didn't really work out, and I decided fairly quickly, after basically no one had bought it, to make it free, because I don't know, I felt straight away that we'd kind of made a mistake in trying to charge for it. The game's not a looker. The good stuff, I think, isn't on the surface, and you have to work for it, which isn't good, really. for a game you want to sell, I think. And as I say, I think my art is kind of an embarrassment. It's not very good, especially compared to what we've got planned and what we've got coming up in the pipeline. So yeah, I think making it free was the right move, even though it ended up being bigger in scope than the initial thing I was going to put out, which was Spiderbro. Okay, I'm going to play the game. So erase the save. Now, those of you who have played will know that this game has 2 endings. I am going to cover them both somehow. We might have to Billy Mitchell it for the second ending, for the secret ending, and just because you have to play the game like you have to choose an ending. You can't go back. So yeah, we'll probably just cheat for the second ending. Let's play. I absolutely love the menu music, by the way. I don't know if you can hear that overly well, but yeah, Xander did a great job on that. In fact, I love the sound overall. Xander did some terrific work. He deserves he deserves much congratulations, I think. Like, especially in the time frame he did it in. I think it's incredible. Okay, so this room's an interesting one. I hate this room. I hate this room because it was like the hardest thing, and we actually updated it after release, because this room was built as a tutorial room, and I guess for the full game mechanics, I struggle to teach people this. It's a simple thing, but I see people fail at it over and over and over again. So I don't know. I'm trying to, I think, with future projects, like really pay attention to how we communicate game mechanics to the player. And I think this room is better now than it was upon release. When we released it, I think the Spiderbro guy just kind of explained everything in dialogue, and I imagine people would just be like mashing it, like. So yeah, this was a tough room to sort of nail, but the idea is that we've got to like show the pocket mechanics and how you are able to merge things together, how you are able to use objects in the world, how you're able to like give things to people, that sort of thing. And yeah, that's why this room was essentially born, and it came actually quite late-ish development. The original ones literally had you just walking into level 1, absolutely no context or anything, but I thought, no, it deserves a proper sort of intro, so we did the minecarts, and we made it sort of an area where you literally cannot progress until you learn the mechanics, essentially. So with the update, we changed it so like the leaflet provided all the explanation, and that Spiderbro looks at the leaflet straight away. So these are full screen ones, and because we're using the controller DLC, the controller mod or whatever, it shows up the controls for the gamepad that I'm using. But if you're using the vanilla version, it'll show the keyboard controls here. So I think this is a sort of like fair compromise, although I aim to do it much better in future. I aim to actually have like it be part of the story, or part of the sort of interactive world where these things are just naturally explained to you. I also wanted to make it so people understood that the world wasn't safe because of the player deaths, which is probably one thing I'll never do again. I think it's incredibly uninviting to the player, and I'll go on to explain this in the later level. Right now we've got to... So this is explaining the merge. We've already had the you know, using objects, and now we get the giving people objects. So yeah, the pocket mechanics, technically in the engine in Spiderbro 1, but I chose not to take advantage of it. But here, with the ramp up in difficulty, I decided it's definitely time to use those pocket mechanics, for sure. So this guy's a happy shopper guy. He's really annoying. He's actually probably one of the first characters I made, actually, I think. But he's kind of like, I suppose the equivalent would be Stan out of Monkey Island. He's just trying to upsell you stuff all the time. Maybe he's not that quite annoying. Okay, so in this game we have sort of achievements. Now they're not built into Steam, and it's because it's because I have no idea how to do that. I'm just going to say I have looked at like the documentation, and I just don't think it's possible for the code set I'm using. So unless unless I choose to change code set and ultimately rewrite my engine, I don't think that's going to happen. At least not for the next few games, at least. Unless there is another way that I don't know of, that I'm not thinking of. Okay, so this is sort of the level that was like nearly sort of ish complete whilst the game was still called Spiderbro, and I think keeping this level in the game has actually been to the game's serious detriment, because you are sort of like dumped here. You kind of understand that you may be staff of some sort of workplace or something, and we're just going to save actually. And there's just not much context for where you are or what's going on, and then the player goes, "Oh, I wonder what's over here," and instantly dies. Because there's some unannounced player deaths that you've got to watch out for. It's probably a bit of a scumbag mechanic now that I look back, but yeah, I consider this level to be like a serious misstep, even though it fits perfectly in the plot, and like once you get to the end you understand why this level is like it is. But yeah, for the new player, having to like work for context, having to work for the plot, especially when the first level is not only one of the more dangerous levels, but also like the one mostly devoid of what the hell is going on, like, and what happened to you. And you keep on dying randomly. Some people might even like get partway through the game and then only think to go over there once they've half completed the level, and then they die and they haven't saved once. And I think that sort of thing, level 1 should have been made way more forgiving, is what I'm trying to say. It should have been way more forgiving. And I think I did in a lot of ways make it more forgiving, but it just wasn't enough. As a famous director once said, you can diminish the effects of these things, but this is sort of like stylistically designed this way. So this guy gives you a T card, which you can use in the PCs to log on. So the PCs are back in this one. This guy does prattle on a bit there. we're going to speak to him once more, and then we'll never have to speak to him again, unless, I don't know, should we... We should go for the... I'm going to show both endings, so I'm going to show how both of them are sort of done. Like, you have to do extra puzzles on top of the normal puzzles to get to the secret ending. So we can include that now. This might be controversial, I don't really give a shit because it's the secret ending, but the puzzle here essentially stems from being annoyed by this guy. And I'm not sure if I want to... I'm not sure if I want to do this, you know. He chats an awful lot, and you've got to listen to every single one of his product pictures, and he has like 10 of them, and you've got to keep on trying to exit, and then finally he like gives you a catalogue. Should I do it? I think it'd be slightly boring for the viewer if I did it. You know what? I'm gonna do it, and I'll cut it out. God, this was meant to be funny. It's not funny. This is just pain. Why did I do this? Kill me. Oh boy. Right, I'm pretty sure this is the last one. What a great puzzle, everyone. Oh no, there's one more. Fuck. Okay, this has to be it. Hell yeah. So the idea of this puzzle is that it's meant to be difficult and obtuse, and that came from my desire to continue the Spiderbro philosophy of having like incredibly hard puzzles, but I did not want them to be compulsory. So I thought normal ending, secret ending. And the secret ending, you've got to do a bunch of optional super hard puzzles that you probably won't miss. Now I'm pretty sure he's just going to repeat all of those product pictures again if you try again. So we're going to save, actually. So this is the administration surveillance department of like a workplace. You don't really know that yet because you don't have access to up here where the sign is for some reason. So that's another lack of context there. And these guys are essentially all having a good time, apart from Larry, who's kind of grumpy and doing work. Yeah, obviously when you first start the game you won't understand what this is or why it's like this, but you'll understand better towards the end of the game. Again, a mistake to leave the player clueless for so long. But yeah, our first puzzle, beyond getting those items earlier, the T card and the pen, we used the pen with the desk to ruin Larry's work. For some reason, Xander's weird insistence on having sound effects for like what could be like silent things, I'm not entirely sure. Like when it'd give me like sound effects, and I'd be like, "What? There's one for the pen breaking? Like, does it like okay, fair enough. Like, it's an extra sound, you know, it sounds cool." But there was a lot of like, I think it did one for like pins being put into planks of wood, which is used later on in the game, and it's like, why did you do Have you heard the phrase, you could hear a pin drop? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure that needs a sound, but hey, we put it in the game, because yeah, all these sounds are pretty cool. You know, and it did this in incredible time, incredible speed. So yeah, I love Xander's work, and I liked how with the first Spiderbro, I told him just to get weird. Well, with this one, even though I was leaning into the weirdness, because the levels are longer and you're going to be hearing the same pieces of music for longer, I was very concerned that we can't be that weird anymore, where it's like a very repetitive sort of thing, like in Spiderbro 1, with the music's got to have longer melodies but still sound kind of weird and within the universe. So it was kind of like a hard thing for him. Anyway, this is a PC. We use the T card with the PC. So this level pretty much exists to set up the puzzles for like a lot of the other levels. You'll see the game probably gets easier for a lot of people once you get onto level 2, because you begin to recognise and understand things that you've done before. But a lot of the time it's a little harder in level 2 and it's a little harder in level 3, that sort of thing. And one of these things is collecting points for your Happy Shopper card, so you can make item purchases. I think my cat's trying to break in. One moment. Settle down, Spiderbro, please. I'm doing like a weird commentary on my game. So now we've got the points, we can talk to this guy. Oops. So you get the power mitten. Now this might be one that trips people up because at the other end of the level now we have, I think he's called Catty, and he wants to get this robot working, and the solution is the power mitten. Billy! Not cool! It's trying to break into the food. Not cool. It's not feeding time. Settle down. I love you too. Please don't mess up my cables. Okay, so the next thing is to start swapping items with Turan. We do have to speak to him more, don't we? My goodness. And this is like a puzzle exclusive to this level, because even like, I don't know, like looking back, I really don't like this puzzle, and I don't think I did for the rest of the game, which is why I didn't do it again, where you have to sort of like continuously swap items with him to get the right thing. So in a lot of cases in the later levels I simplified all this by making it so you just get the item and they're not accepting trades anymore. This is a level 1 exclusive thing. Okay, so the next thing for the secret ending is to actually make use of this cloth. There is a use. On the coffee machine, if you look at it, it says it's dirty, and you can use the cloth to clean it up and get some coffee. Now, this is obviously entirely sort of like, it can be completely skipped if you're not after the secret ending. And then we can trade the cloth for probably what we need. Yep. The PC space ROM. Now PC space, we're going to be getting onto that. This was inspired by Beneath a Night Sky. There's like a thing called link space in that, and I really liked the idea of like an in-game sort of virtual reality sort of thing, and I thought, why not copy it? Essentially. And even a couple of the puzzles from there are kind of straight up lifted from Beneath a Night Sky, so look at me, I'm a hack fraud. This is also where many people may have also continued to die via moving the droid around at a time when they don't need to. With that said, I think we can get it to run macro. This might be risky. But a lot of those options kill you. But the macro builds a bridge, as long as it's next to the water. If it's rebased in the other one, because you can do the puzzles all sorts of out of order and in any order. There's no like particular thing. You can do the PC space bit first, or you can get the droid to move first. It's entirely up to you. And if you do the PC space bit first, you can get the droid to move to the other side. So a lot of the levels were kind of complicated to build, because it was like there's just so many like different routes. It wasn't like Spiderbro 1 where I'm channeling you down different routes. It's sort of a map of a sandbox, as you will, of puzzles, and they've all got to be accounted for in sort of any order if I allow it. Okay, so we're entering PC space. So this is where we get our main enemy, you don't realise it at the time, because again we're kind of lacking in context, and it isn't until the end of the level you realise, oh, this guy's a threat, I remember him. So let's summon the worm. First you've got this guard guy. Now all of these are sort of representations of software, which is why you can go up to things and it's like looking at the properties of something. If we go into the eye, it will kick you out. We'll do that later. It's always fun. But you'll notice this thing appeared after we got stopped by the guard over here. So this is a glitch. Not an actual glitch. It's intended, but it's a glitch within PC space that's appeared, and now we've interacted with it. So the glitch has now become a bug. Let's interact with the bug. And the bug opens a back door, and out comes a worm. So this is like how kind of computers get infected, and it's a visual representation of that. And now we've got this worm running around virtual reality, I guess. And it's just absorbed the power of the guard guy. Thanks for that, bug. But yeah, for a lot of people, that'll be just like, what the hell happened there? And they might even forget about it by the time they get to the end of the level. I should have maybe, again, provided more context and explanation. And the same with this bit, because that turns off the electric zappers that killed us earlier. But again, you don't really know that unless you're really paying attention to the animations of those zappers. Okay, so let's get out of here. Let's trigger the security system. Cool. Even though we've turned off the zappers, we still don't want to go down there. I think we might anyway, because it's kind of an animation I'm almost proud of. When I was sort of doing these, I was like, I figured out how to sort of like get the blood dripping to look fluid and stuff like that, so I'm a little proud of this one. But yeah, too many deaths, too many ways to die on level 1. I should have perhaps considered not doing that at all. So now we go on the PC. Rebase the droid. Whilst the zappers are on, if you try and rebase the droid, it'll get zapped and then it'll malfunction and it'll start shooting everyone around, including you, and you will die. I mean, it's a cool animation. Maybe we should consider watching it. Save, and then let's get the droid to kill us all. You can still do it no matter what with the debug option. Malfunction happens, although it's also kind of a play on words. Debug. This does come back as well, like you will sort of face one of these droids later on that's on the loose. Again, you don't know that at the time though, and I can see why people got very frustrated perhaps with the first level, because yeah, just not a lot of context and a lot of ways to trip up and die. And this sort of shit where I get rid of that but have him kill you, that kind of feels almost like a troll game sort of situation. You know, like the invisible blocks in Mario, or the poison mushroom. This is essentially Mario 2, but Spiderbro 2. Okay, what do we need to do next? Oh yeah, we need to, forgive me, this is not the thing. We've built this bridge now, so now we can cross over here. And then we use the shears on the plant. Just tempting fate there. So as you can see, this just way more characters, much more sort of going on than in Spiderbro 1, but probably about as much context as Spiderbro 1, which is a bad thing, and a lot harder in terms of the puzzles. Now the droid will go on a rampage. This time we're not in the way though, it's Betty, so... Okay. So, one new thing is the ability to sort of, if you notice there, we're able to trigger sort of small scripts and animations whilst everything is running. I used it very, very delicately and in very, very small ways, just like that one, because it does have the potential to break the engine if used in excess. But yeah, the fact that you can just slide out and sort of like, yeah, it helped put nice little touches like that on. Did some of the advancements I made in the engine. So everyone's kind of died now. We can pick up this mixtape. And it turns out it's a guy. I thought that was like a neat twist. He's over here. Okay, so we've got the mixtape, and it's the millipede guy up here who's after the mixtape. Unfortunately, with the presence of the droid, he has kind of run away. Luckily, the droid is caught up in the sales pitch right now, so we're good. So this is where we're at the end of the level, and you'll sort of know when you're at the end of the level, judging by how much the level is destroyed or something. It is a recurring theme. One other thing I'd like to point out just before we get into level 2, actually, this server, it's a hint as to what was going on in level 2. I didn't make it clear enough, but there's a server you've got to use in level 2. And I don't think people realise that you're meant to put the T card in it. And this becomes useful in level 2. In level 1 it's kind of like, but I can see why people maybe thought like that came out of nowhere in level 2. Oh yeah, and if Millie's about, they'll tell you off for it. Okay. Let's give him the mixtape. Also, a nice touch that Xander put in was the like the difference in the music. That you know, the music changes in that little melody goes, and that's what's on the mixtape, I guess. Oops. I am pressing all the wrong buttons today, you know. Okay, Millie drops a key and we get the key. I decided to make it so like the player character just automatically gets the key every time you're presented with one. I don't know why, but that just felt like the right thing to do so people aren't overlooking it. Also, Millie was bound to come back having not had their key, so you've got to pick it up. And then each level ends pretty much the same way. You use the key on the elevator and you go down to the next level. Or you do, but you actually take a detour into what I call a sub-level. But first, the plot starts finally to get fleshed out one level in. So, why a worm? Why a worm? Well, I thought it'd be cool, and I thought actually it'd be easy, until I had to animate it, and then I realised that worms move horribly, and it's an awful thing to animate. Anyway, these sub-levels are entirely related to the secret ending. They're entirely optional. I'm sure the vast majority of people who went in and had no idea what was going on, and were quickly kicked out of them. But we're going to complete it properly. This guy wants some coffee, I think. So the first one's quite simple, as long as you don't walk past the guy. All you have to do is give away the coffee, and then give away the catalogue. I forgot to show that the entity, if you interact with it, does give a clue as to what it wants. I just gave it its thing because I already know. The sub-levels increase in complexity and rely on you getting the right items in the levels to be able to complete. So that was the idea for sort of like the secret ending and how that was going to work. So now the plot begins. So this is where the game starts getting a little bit meta. I decided, like, if we were going to have different floors of a building, we've got all these bugs essentially making the same mistakes that we are, and it's a capitalist nightmare and whatever. You know, and I wanted to sort of like have the plot of Spiderbro 1 be a real thing within the world, and that then went on. I took the idea further and literally thought, well, why don't we make the game as well a real thing within the world, and these guys are now making a sequel. So yeah, it gets kind of meta, and you actually sort of in this level influence some of what's going on in this game. I thought it was kind of fun. It might not make that much sense, all things considered, but who cares? It's fun. Okay, so we're introducing the fact that Spiderbro 2 has been greenlit, and these guys are all developers, and this is the game they're gonna make now. So these are all the things I wanted to include in the game. So, like, yeah, this is incredible. This is just me taking the piss, really. So, in case you noticed, the entity gave us a key. That'll come useful in level 3. I think the first thing we need to do is we'll grab a pen, we'll go speak to BT, who gives us tasks. And the task is to basically influence the game. So you'll notice at the moment the poster actually has the purple Spiderbro on it, and yet the player character is the shadow guy, so that has to be changed, and plus we've got to introduce the worm as well. Again, like the fact that it's like happening, this game is happening at the same time that they're kind of developing it, doesn't really make much sense, but it's, I don't know, it's just a bit of fun, really. And if you accept that the events of the game happened within this world and these guys saw it and were inspired from it and made a game, then yeah, it kind of makes sense that way. The integration of the first one makes sense, but not necessarily the second one, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so BT gave us a clipboard. He accused us of being a slacker. Now, obviously, you'd want to go down there in the first place. You notice I didn't actually go up and speak to BT, although you can do. It doesn't actually give you a job. It says that you're wearing an outfit and it looks cool, because everybody thinks you're the shadow bro. But you'll notice there's a key down there, and that's essentially all you need to complete the level. But BT's been a bit of a dick, like he always is. BT was, I'm almost proud of BT. He's like the best character, I think, of this game. I sort of was inspired by Buck Strickland, you know, in King of the Hill, sort of like sleazeball boss who's like way too busy enjoying his life to actually be a boss, sort of thing. I always liked that character, and I think I injected a lot of... There's a lot of Buck Strickland in BT. Okay, so right now we've got to go get what is it from everybody. Did we merge those things together? We did. Cool. Cool. Now the crunch machine was a funny joke, again kind of getting meta, because us at the same time, we're kind of crunching a little bit. It's not great, and I again want to apologise for my staff, especially Xander, for putting you all on rigorous time frames. I'm not doing that again, and that is one big mistake I think I really made with this game, is that we did crunch a little bit to get it done, and it led to funny moments like this for sure, but I think it had a negative effect on both me and Xander's health, all things considered, so never again. But the crunch is on right now for these guys. So did I give this to Kermes? Yeah, I'm a dumbass. Okay. So it's through this you find out who's working on the game and who's not, and sort of what they need. Some will sign it straight away, others will like require things first. So we've got Chafee to sign it. There's also a box down here we need to grab stuff out of. So we brought the emergency hammer back from the first game. The sort of like universe smashing hammer. But it's now got a charge mechanic, so you can't just use it nilly-willy anymore. Nilly-willy, people still say that. Okay, I think Afe complains about not being able to improve the controls, so luckily we've got a whole guide on the controls, and we use that, and now Afe has the controls for the game. I really like that puzzle actually. I think that's cute and quite funny. That is a nice moment. Perhaps a little bit of a stumper for those who just assume that's the leaflet's something that you keep all the time. Of course, there's also the cheat sheet, although you can't do anything with that other than look with it, really. But that was put in because I knew people would get stuck. That was the reason why, and I just wanted them to be able to get help if they wanted help, because I knew the game was too much. Anyway, we've sorted out that. Do we have another pen? Damn it, I didn't pick up another pen. Oh, this guy will take the status update there. So you'll notice on level 2 there isn't actually that much death going on. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe I'd learnt a lesson from level 1, and maybe I should have just ripped all the death out of level 1 too. But yeah, there are ways to die in level 2, and we'll go through that, but level 1 was overpowered on the death, and it was way too hostile to the player, and perhaps I should have considered opening with level 2 instead, but I don't know. We got a pen now, yes. Yeah. So this guy thinks you're the Shadow Bro, so he's like kind of freaked out. You are the Shadow Bro. So if we try and run away with this, he'll demand it back, but what we can do is combine it with the purple pen. And then return it. And then he's like, whoa, hang on, it's purple now? What? So it begins thinking the purple guy's the evil one, and the protagonist is the grey one. And thus you've influenced the game. I think this guy wants a bit of inspiration. So we give him the worm plush. And in return you get a piece of a ROM chip that you can install on the T card. We'll get him to sign this. So, as you can see, I was just really steering into weird stuff. Really meta weird stuff. It felt good at the time. Looking at it now, it's fine, but I can see why it definitely confuses the player. We shall merge that with that. So this is a graphics ROM, and this will allow you to play Spiderbro 1, actually, on the terminals. We'll do that soon. So once we've installed that, this is where the server bit comes up. I can imagine a lot of people getting stumped by that, because again, it's not something I really properly introduced in level 1. And perhaps I should have had an actual puzzle using the server, because level 2 and level 3 make use of the server. Okay, so Antal Help is out here. But what the server can actually do is sideload PC space apps onto your T card. and we're getting a application here that can help us get past that eye security that zapped us out earlier, so kind of cool. So Ant won't speak to us until we've done that little bit of the game. So now we can get the status update. You get a question Beatty's management style of sending everyone on a task and then immediately demanding progress, but whatever. We'll get onto that weird little stain there later. We'll get onto that. In fact, no, we'll do it later. It's chill. It's chill. Anyway, onto the PC. We haven't used the PC so far. PC actually includes sort of stuff to do with the plot here. I don't know where it is. Essentially, one of these messages says, like, hey, we're going to keep a secret. We basically used real life events for the plot of Spiderbro 1, and we're going to keep that under wraps. Oh, I just quit the PC like a dumbass. So I think we can grab some Happy Shopper points. That'll come useful in a bit. And we can also, now that we've got the graphics ROM, launch Spiderbro 1. Wow. And this is literally Spiderbro 1. It's a special build of Spiderbro 1 that's designed to work in tandem with this Spiderbro 2. But yeah, it's the full game. It's the full game. It's also taken a while to load. I'm probably stressing out my computer a little bit. I don't have the best PC, but yeah, this is just Spiderbro 1. Let's get out of there. So because we're after the secret ending, we're going to go into PC space right now before we give BT the status update thing. So what you've just seen there is actually technically sort of a new feature. The game did not release with that feature. Originally, the game did not tell you when you gained an item in PC space. It was just on you to go look and realise, oh, I've got this blind eye thing. But I don't know, I realised at some point that was just kind of bad. Like, it was like difficulty through sort of like bad obscurity, I don't know. It didn't feel right, so I updated the game to sort of include a thing, an animation when you get one of these things in PC space. So what we can do is we can literally blind this eye now. And we get to walk past it, and now PC space opens up into a much bigger thing. And that'll continue throughout like the level pretty much. You know, we've got like things blocking our way and stuff, but those'll open up at some point. There's a lot to interact with here. We interact with Millie here. Well, thank you for giving them the mixtape back, and they'll sign the therapy thorn that we picked up earlier. That's going to be useful for the secret ending for sure. We'll also grab. So yeah, I think that's everything in PC space now that we can do. So this is another thing I kind of wish I'd improved, and this is something you can do in a newer version of the engine now, so in my future games it won't be a problem, but you've got to look at disconnect to use it, and that's also the same for a few other things in PC space, and that in retrospect does not make a whole lot of sense at all. But now the pockets can support a multitude of stuff, so it's better now, and in my future games it'll be much better. So let's go. Oh, let's interact with this guy first. It's the Happy Shopper stuff, isn't it? I'm a dumbass. So we've been collecting tarot cards, as you may have noticed. That'll come up later on. So that guy, I didn't want all the Happy Shopper people to be like Stan out of Monkey Island. I wanted like a sort of range of personalities. Yeah, the retail worker that really gets into it and wants to achieve, you know, records and sales statistics, and then those who couldn't give a crap and absolutely hate their life. We shall grab another pen, we'll need that for the secret ending. And we'll give this to Beta. Huh, who did we miss? Did we must have missed someone. God damn it. God damn it, this game sucks. We did Kermes, we did Ants, right? Pretty sure we did this guy, right? Yeah, we've done him. Did we do Aphie? We might have missed Aphie by accident. Yeah, we missed Aphie. Whoops. Oh, one other piece of weird context is that everything's being powered by cats on this floor. should have gone into that. You can't really interact with the cats. I didn't really fancy like animating cats, you know. But because of infrastructure problems, essentially, they've got all this temporary wiring system rigged up and stuff. Okay, BT should accept us now. Allow it, BT. Okay. So here BT criticises the game. A bit self-referential perhaps, but yeah, I thought, again, leaning into weird and leaning into funny. Or at least what I thought was funny. So these guys have a crisis meeting. And here BT pretty much criticises the game some more and has a go at some of the staff. In particular, he criticises the idea of having a worm as the main enemy, and that's when the worm appears and kind of crashes the party. So, yeah, a funny moment, and introduces the worm once again. So the worm comes in and like kills half of the development staff. I can promise you this bit is not an accurate representation of Studio Pond offices or anything. We don't have giant worms or any sort of killing. We don't even have officers for that matter. So BT just pretty much fucks off. He scapegoats Ant and then he's like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm out of here. If we go past the worm now, it will kill us. So we can't just go down and grab the key. So we're going to find another way. So this teaches us sort of like, kind of like a weakness of the worm and a way to at least temporarily defeat it. And it also teaches the emergency hammer stuff. I think the first thing we should do is go into PC space though. I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty certain there's something important we can do in there. So yeah, I think the puzzle here is to annoy Larry again. We choose to block him, and I think he gets really offended by it. Yeah. And he moves, which is what we need him to do. Because we need access to this. So Larry gets even more sick of us because we followed him and interacted with that thing. That's like a tuning fork that we just picked up, a digital tuning fork. It will come in use. We do need to re-enter PC space again though. Annoyingly, Larry kicked us out. So you'll notice our tuning fork is compressed, so we'll have to find a way of uncompressing that. Luckily, there's this giant clamp down here called decompress. Very cool, so we can decompress it. Now we've got a tuning fork. And those with eagle eyes will have noticed earlier with absolute horror that Turan is here, walking around. Well, Turan's got an offer for us. So, Turan's willing to trade digital items, and we can trade the tuning fork for a mirror. And we can use the mirror to get past this guy. Thus, hopefully driving home the message that if you want to sort of defeat the worm or harm the worm, because the worm has the same power as the guard, you can use a mirror. What else it does is it gives us access to the charger, which can charge our emergency hammer. Now, one thing I've noticed whilst playing so far is that the music fade is broken, which is odd. There should be like a crossfade for all the music. I've never known it not to work. It was one of the new advancements of my engine. So I'm gonna have to look into that for bugs, because I don't know what's gone on there, but it's cutting rather harshly at the moment. That is not the intended behaviour. Okay, we've charged our emergency hammer, let's get out of here. So I'm going to save, because I'm going to show you sort of like a rare death, I guess. A couple of rare deaths. These are sort of deaths that you don't want. It feels like you've got to work hard for them. But part of the puzzle is putting these shears in a pipe. And then using the emergency hammer with the pipe. That's not part of the puzzle, but it's something you can do and it will kill you. And that's where the pool of acid essentially comes from. There's even a note on the PC saying, hey, don't mess around with the pipe. The pipe was perhaps an ill-advised thing. People kept on missing it in testing, and I'm pretty sure people continue to miss it today. Even with the note on the PC and the pool of, I had to add a pool of goop to sort of indicate, like, hey, there's things that can be spilled here. But as far as the puzzle is concerned, you don't need to actually get the goop out the pipe. I think there's one more death that we can do that you've got to kind of do something quite obscure for, that maybe you wouldn't figure out. And it's to do with the crunch machine. Because what you can do, usually, before Kermes is kind of roaming around here. At the moment he's all kind of like traumatized and over here. But whilst he's roaming around here, if you put the T card into the crunch machine, it'll turn the crunch machine off and Kermes will come over and switch it back on. However, if you do it whilst Kermes is distressed, what happens is that the robot does it instead, and it actually comes and kills you. I think. Yeah, robot's not happy with you. So yeah, that's an obscure death that you'd perhaps like never consider. You know, something that you'd never ever even consider. So This bit can often be a tiny bit of a stumper to people because we've got a situation now where we've got all these PCs, but most of them aren't usable. Only one of them is, and it's the one with the ever so slightly less red light on it. But from here we can get another counselling form, and this is the one we want to use in this level. The one signed by Millie we'll want to keep for the sub-level. One weird, quite late advancement of this game was the object highlighter on the screen there, where it, once you get close to an object, it says what it is. This was not in Spiderbro 1, and for the longest time, actually, it wasn't in Spiderbro 2. It could have very nearly released without it, actually. It was a very last-minute addition. I realised a lot of people in testing were sort of like kind of getting close to an object but not close enough, so they go to like there and assume they can interact with it and try to use stuff and be like, oh, I can't. So yeah, it just sort of confirms not only what it is that you're going to be interacting with, but that you are actually going to be interacting with it. So that's something that we'll probably carry forward in all of the games going forward that you use with this engine, because it's a no-brainer. So this is the therapy, and I guess it's a little bit like that puzzle out of Monkey Island 3 where you've got to trick that fortune teller into thinking you're like Death Incarnate, but here we're wanting to essentially steal a bunch of life cards. I guess you could consider this a commentary on something, but I'm not entirely sure what. I just thought it'd be funny if, like, you know, the therapy that the workers got was defective and like a bunch of pseudoscience. I'm in no way suggesting that therapy is that. In fact, I believe if you need it, it's very important. Please go get it. So yeah, this isn't to be misconstrued as an attack on therapy, but rather sort of an attack on workplaces that only care sort of superficially. You know, they put the groundwork in just enough to appear as though they care, but on the grand scheme of things, they actually don't. So Pinch is not too happy, refuses to speak to you again, and now we have a bunch of life cards. Now we can use these life cards with our friend Kermes over here. If you were to speak to Kermes, it'd say he was in distress, I think. Yeah, Kermes is too distressed to notice. But we can cheer Kermes up by convincing them everything's going to be fine. Okay, so Kermes gets a bunch of newfound courage, thinks they can take out the worm. Now, there's a few routes of this. There's only one route that actually works, but if you fail to put the shears in the pipe, what'll actually happen is that Ant will tell Kermes that they're being ridiculous, and you'll have to sort of like recollect the tarot cards from the box next to Kermes and sort of like build them up again. You can also, as a weapon, if you haven't put the shears in the pipe, also give Kermes the shears as a weapon, and that also triggers that cutscene. But we're doing it the right way this time. So Kermes goes for it and trips on the shears. And I guess, again, because I'm not like digging around through the PCs and looking at emails and finding the context and the plot, you'd be thinking like, what the hell has this got to do with defeating the worm? Well, Kermes has a mirror on them, and now Kermes is knocked out. Well, we can grab back our emergency hammer, but we can also grab a mirror. And then we can defeat the worm with the mirror. Or at least temporarily defeat it. Oh, we've also saved Aphie as well. Okay, so now that we have the key, once again, we can just leave. The level's complete. Time to wreak destruction on somewhere else. So once again, another elevator ride, and then another sub-level, which I may or may not be able to do well. This is where the sub-levels get incredibly complicated and incredibly easy to mess up if they weren't already so. So I'm not entirely sure if anyone had guessed to do this, but... Okay, so... we have to go speak to the entity first. Who will give us a floppy disk. If we try using the T card with that terminal, it'll just crash and then we'll have ruined the puzzle. You also have to do this puzzle within a certain time, so... what is it? Do we want hammer charge or do we want eject? I think we want eject. Yes, so we'll receive the battery. PC now breaks. We can use the battery of the robot. This has a very strict time limit. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this in time. Okay, the robot boots. We have to interact with the robot. It then gives us the Spiderbro, the Shadowbro, sorry. We merge that with the pen. Oh no, we took too long. Damn it, we took so long. We are going to have to Billy Mitchell the secret ending, but... yeah, I can't help but notice that a lot of sounds are failing, and that is it's like a weak thing of my engine sometimes. I have bugs to fix. Okay, so we meet our friend BT again, and he's giving these guys a hard time. A robot decontaminated him, and then it just died apparently. So we've got Sawyer, who's got a stutter and really big eyes, so therefore he's the character that everybody bullies. That's kind of how it works in these pixel games. Sawyer goes on to try explain floating point to BT, but yeah, BT isn't interested. He just wants the robot fixed. This also introduces the fact that there's this waste disposal service, and this is where it really begins to link with the first game and perhaps starts to make sense to people. There's also a joke about digital spider hats there, which is kind of cool. So Beatty's been very unprofessional and picking on Sawyer. And also Beatty makes threats about automating the place. It turns out Hercules doesn't even know what a droid is. God bless. So yeah, this is the level where it really begins to make sense as a sequel, and stuff, and we see a rare glimpse of Spiderbro here, and an explanation as to kind of what's going on to a respect. It has something to do with radiation, because you go through the radioactive sort of X-ray scanner thing, and you appear as Spiderbro, but when we get out the other side, you Shadowbro. Unfortunately, Hercules freaks out because, well, you've just gone through the radioactive X-ray machine, and the robot that usually cleans you down, it's broken right now. So here, I decided to warn the player about the deaths that they could encounter. Don't go back into the scanner, don't follow the tracks, which I should have really found a way of doing in level 1. Like, I should have really put more clues there, made it a lot less hostile, maybe taken some of the deaths out entirely. Nobody likes Sawyer, poor Sawyer. So, level 3. That's where we left off. Excuse me. So, level 3 is where it starts sort of like interconnecting with Spiderbro 1. And I'll sort of explain how that works as we go along, and also maybe explain how that doesn't really fully make sense, but who cares? So here, Sawyer recognises you as the Shadow Spider from the first game. Freak him out. And here's where we first start jumping into other universes as well, kind of like the first game. Okay, what else do we need from in here? I think we need the parts. So you might ask what's going on with these robots that are drifting in and out. If you watch, one will appear through that, and they're taking plastic bottles places. And that is essentially one of the ways it links up with Spiderbro 1, where this company has found this other dimension and decided, oh, we're just going to put all our waste in there. That's kind of a cool idea. And that's what's happening here. They're taking it places. The pink door we will deal with a little bit later. But I believe we do have the pink key for that, because we did the puzzle right. Yes, we did miss one of the keys, but that's no biggie. This also provides a little bit of clues and context to what may have occurred as well. So we have the blueprints for Sawyer, so we'll give them to him. Forgive me, I have a cough today. I'll try cut all the coughs out. Okay, he gives up this PC, but we don't need to go on that just yet. So we need to go on this PC. And here's where we see some repeat on some of the puzzles. Again, the Happy Shopper thing, you get the points from here. This particular time it isn't actually enough to make a purchase, so you have to get some more elsewhere, and that's how that puzzle is sort of built upon. Head to PC space. Cool, so remember how last time we used a mirror to get past this guy? Well, we can sort of try the same thing. But this time he has an extra thing, he has an extra trick in his pocket, and if you are paying attention, going around and speaking to all the NPCs and stuff like that, and exploring through all of the text files on the PCs, I think you find out that it's Sawyer who upgraded that guy. Or at least that's my intention. Maybe it didn't make it into the game, I'm not too sure. We did end up cutting a lot of like smaller like plot elements and stuff like that to try and sort of streamline it. Upon review of this game, there was like a moment of, oh god, what is this game even about? Which is a good question. It's a really good question though. Okay, we need to go in one of these, I forget which one. A lot of these text files here provide context with the plot as well. Okay, we've got the purple pass. I think that's all we need from here now. Okay, I think we're ready to move on to the first boss. In this game I wanted to include boss battles, and there's 3 in total. There's 2 of them in this level. And the first thing you face is a purple droid, and I have to say, that is one area I may have gone way too far. That first boss battle, really difficult. Really difficult, and not much of a clue as to what you're meant to be doing. Like at all. Okay, so we've got some Popo folks over here. And now we're into the purple universe. This is where we started off in the first game. So hopefully, it might not be obvious actually, because I'm sort of recording this in 2 parts, but the story so far essentially is these guys in the fully coloured universe noticed that you could jump between universes, started putting a ton of trash into that universe. During that time, the events of Spiderbro 1 happens. Some of the staff of this company witness those events. They tell the guys up on the video game development floor, and they make a game about it. And that's essentially like what you should have got from the plot so far. Again, I don't know whether this was communicated very effectively throughout the game, because it's all dispersed in like little short text logs and little visual cues here and there. But that is essentially what I was going for. It's a little convoluted, I know. So this is probably where a lot of people, if I hadn't already lost them in this game, I think this boss battle definitely loses them because it's way too difficult. And even before release, it was actually even more difficult, which is the most insane thing. I had to tone down the way the purple droid behaved and essentially add a second sort of dice roll as to whether it entered the room you were in or not. Okay, so we'll collect the pins. Go in here. Now, obviously, I could die at any moment. I don't know how many attempts this is going to take. But ultimately, this puzzle is just way too complicated. There's no real clues as to what you're meant to be doing. Also, it just expects a little bit too much of the player and contributes to a sharp increase in difficulty, I think. I could understand why people are put off. Okay, so because we're doing the secret ending, we've got to put some things in the pot first before we use them for their actual thing. So we need to put some broccoli in the pot. Put some plastic explosive in the pot. Is there anything else? No. Don't put the ink in the pot. That ruins the puzzle. But we do need to put some of this in the pot. Okay. We've got the power mitten back. So the idea of this puzzle essentially is to make a distraction for the droid and make it so that it's an explosive distraction. Okay, that's inside the power mitten. So what we're doing is sort of making sort of a human figurine. It's also worth noting that the droid won't come into this room ever, so you're always safe in this room. Okay, they're in the cross room. There's also slight variations and multiple ways you can actually complete this puzzle, which is uh-oh. Oh, fuck. Okay, so what you saw there is actually one of the hints as to what you're meant to do, because if you didn't have the plastic explosive on you, you'd just die like as you would in sort of like level 1, where the blood comes out of you and you sort of collapse. But in this case, the droid shoots you and you explode. There is further clues to that on some of the computers. idea how long this is going to take. Right, what I am going to do... Put the broccoli in the pot early on. We'll save again. And that's one less thing to do. Oh, another thing is that you can actually skip cutscenes by pressing escape, or if you're on the controller pressing start. There's actually no indication ever that you can do this in the game, but if you're tired of seeing some cutscenes, try pressing escape or start, and it just might very well skip it. Originally that feature was sort of intended for testing only, but we just sort of left it in because, you know. And that makes a lot of the deaths skippable as well, so if you keep on dying the same way over and over, just press escape, you'll interrupt it. I fucking hate this game. Well, that was just unlucky, I don't know what to say. We'll try again. If people get into speedrunning this game, I feel really bad for them, because this bit's just gonna fuck with them. I'll skip that. This route that I do throughout the puzzle is probably the most optimised route. Although, again, if people start speedrunning, they might even figure a way to completely demolish it. They'll find a bug somewhere. Can't wait. Yay. Cool. Okay, we made it to safety for now. Oopsie. So at this point also, what doesn't help this puzzle is you end up with a lot of inventory items, and not all of them are useful at all. In fact, quite a lot of them are only useful after you've killed the droid. So that probably didn't help people's confusion at all. Wait, did I put... What did I put in the pot earlier there just then? Am I a dumbass? I think I'm a dumbass. I tried putting broccoli in the pot and I've already done that. We need the plastic explosive. We slip all of the explosive into the glove. So we've technically only got one last thing to prepare at this point. We'll look at that. Oh, it's just moved. Okay. We can go in here. Damn it, it's in the room we need to go. Okay, well, we can do some stuff in here at least. So that's the noise of the pins that Xander made. Incredible work, Xander. I love it. Where did they go? Different room. Cool. So the last thing to do is to get a smiley face on the plate. Now, there is a chance at this point that you can still have a pen from level 2. And if you do have the pen, what you can do is that you can just merge the pen and the paper plate and you'll just draw a face on it. Skipping this bit entirely. But since we used the pen, we're going to use the printer in here. Awesome. So, where's that guy? Still in there. Oh, just moved. Awesome. You know, I think we just might have this. Awesome. So, if you were to do that without putting the plastic explosive in the power mitten, then the droid would shoot the guy and then it'd just shoot you because obviously it didn't explode. So, we've done the thing here. I think also another mistake of this bit is this bit afterwards, because there's this puzzle might be just a little bit much for most people. I don't know. A lot of merging and stuff, but before we do that, we're going to have a look at a totally optional cutscene which furthers the story of Spiderbro slightly by explaining sort of like the origins. So essentially, in retaliation of being discovered by the company bugs, the purple bugs decide to start kidnapping, and a small sort of war ensues. And again, this is all sort of like told by text logs and various clues, people's dialogue and all that. And the result of this war was essentially Spiderbro, the purple spiders tried to create a hybrid in response. Now, that's the part of the story that doesn't make sense all that much, because what would the hybrid do exactly? It's never explained. What were the motivations? Why did they do this hybrid thing? Never explained, and I guess that's for you to make up. I don't care. But yeah, this is essentially the moment that Spiderbro is made. They have an employer called Weaver, which is essentially the person you originated as, and at the end of this cutscene, you are Spiderbro. So what I wanted to do with the purple guys is to have it like, so it's like a different language. Like the continuity is that the communication between these two species of spider, you know, the company guys and the purple spiders, you know, they speak a totally different language. But I also wanted to demonstrate that without having the player to look up a different language and stuff like that. I wanted at least English readers to understand what the hell is going on here. So I jumbled a lot of the words up essentially and relied upon the beginning and the ending of the word being the same. And apparently there's something going on. It's like a brain trick, and you can understand this without too much effort, even though it's all jumbled up and technically these are words. So Weaver asked to be let down. That's another thing that the purple spiders did when they were first met. They were really sort of primitive almost. They didn't know anything, and then they start sort of copying everything that the company bugs are doing. For example, having terminals and, you know, like starting to go through universes and stuff like that. So this bit is perhaps a little dark. I don't know. There's a lot of talking of death, and we're witnessing basically a spider drown against their will and be merged with another spider. That's another cool sound effect from Xander. I like his work. So this next puzzle involves a lot of merging of things. And I think we have to charge the emergency hammer. So once again, just like in Spiderbro 1, you need a chisel as well as the hammer to break through the universe cracks. But yeah, this was possibly, like, especially after such a hard boss, not to immediately provide an available save point. Perhaps a little bold and risky, because, you know, it might have just been expecting a bit just too much of the player. Okay, so now we can get out of here, and we will be able to get to a save point shortly. Okay, last time I was playing, the sound fade didn't work, but now it appears to work, so I don't know what's going on there. I guess I've got a bug somewhere. Okay, so Soy's fixed the robot. And the robot... sorry, not the robot, the worm returns. It gets the robot. So now finally we can save, do the rest of level 3. Cool. Also, you haven't to go near that train now because the worm will kill you, or that pile of goop. So if I remember correctly, we have a mod ROM now. That'll allow us to do a fair bit more. Also, we've figured out how to... Oops, sorry robot. We've figured out how to open cracks, and we've got more of them here, which is exciting. But first we shall... Oh yeah, never mind. Don't need a T card for that one. So we can sideload an antivirus application onto our T-card if we stick it into the server. So that's another server puzzle essentially, and getting an application, only this time we don't have Ant to help us out. We've just got to sort of do it ourselves. Another thing that is kind of a step up from Spiderbro 1 is the fact that you've got to keep charging your hammer every single time it was used, which was not the case in the first game at all. You could just use that thing kind of whenever. So let's return to PC space. Because as we know, the hammer charger is in there. That's that antivirus dropping. And this is yet another trade with Tehran. I think he's happy to take the antivirus. And we get the tuning fork back. This crystal podium will take the tuning fork, because crystals can be shattered with tuning forks at the right frequency. That's the weird logic behind that one, I know, don't ask. And in return we get a thing called pseudo. Now this is where you're going to need to know computers a little bit to understand this puzzle, so again, I went a bit too far in a few places. Let's interact with this. So, what is sudo? Sudo means super user do, and on Linux machines and maybe Mac OS, it's used to basically do administrator stuff, administrator commands. Allows you to modify the system in any sort of way. It's as though you're logged in as root. So what we can do is we can give that super user privileges, and this time hopefully it should survive the security's security. Because it's like, yeah bitch, we're running at root level. So yeah, way too weird. Ultimately way too weird. And you have to be like a computer nerd like me to understand it, so yeah, not great, not a great puzzle. I think that's everything we need to do in here for now. We will have to go back to charge the emergency hammer a few times, which is unfortunate. We will save right now. So level 3 is probably the longest level in the game. So if you try the emergency hammer on pink crack, it doesn't actually work. The pink cracks are too hard for the emergency hammer, but the white crack, not a problem. And here we get one of the weirder universes. So this area of the game has an interesting sort of inspiration. I saw, I think it was an Octavius video on YouTube, and she was presenting this this old school ZX Spectrum game called Butterfly, and where you play as a spider and you capture butterflies, and I kind of love that so much. Not only the episode, but kind of like the game, even though the game's absolute trash. But I don't know, it struck a chord within me, and I was like, I want to pay homage to that piece of shit. So here we are. This area of the game essentially does that. You've got like this electricity cable. If you stand on that, you will get electrocuted to death. And that's in the game Butterfly. The lamps aren't there. But you've also got the spider, which is further down here. If you go into the web, you'll die. At least at the moment. And I guess in this particular case, this is literally the spider out of Butterfly. By the way, I literally copied the sprite. I thought it was just such a funny... If you compare it against what I consider a spider looks like, you know, it's kind of night and day. To be honest, they did a better job. They did a much better job. But yeah, it's just some dumb arcade game where you, for the ZX Spectrum, you go around capturing butterflies. In this case, all the butterflies have been caught except one. And that's because we need to put a bulb in this lamp here. So I think this is actually one of the better puzzles of the game because it pretty much spells it out. One of the lamps is missing a bulb, and if you turn on any of the other lamps, a butterfly of the respective colour just appears. And when you go down here, you can see all except the white. I don't want to get too close and trigger a death scenario. So we can turn this on and get the white butterfly, and that then distracts the big ass spider. And we can now head down here safely. And if we walk over these butterflies, they give us various things. So that is the, I think that's the one thing we need. Everything else is kind of superfluous. Yeah, especially that. I wasn't even stood on you then. I just kind of like misaligned that, I guess. One last thing is the photograph. This photograph is also a hint to what's going on in the plot. Here we have a photograph of all the staff from like the company, and they're having a pizza day as always. And here we can see essentially the staff with the purple crosses are the staff who died during the conflict that they had with the purple bugs. So it was a real conflict, you know, a lot of purple bugs died and these staff members died. Obviously Weaver, who's in the centre of this, got turned into Spiderbro and Shadowbro. So yeah, there's sort of like another sort of visual cue to the plot, also like some hints on like the personalities of the people. You know, you've got like that guy, I'm forgetting his name, I think it's Lorne, is kind of isolated. Sawyer's too nervous to look at the camera, that sort of thing. You know, just the best I could try to introduce a bit of personality into all the characters, even though they're all like bugs and yeah, there's not that much in them. And that photo has essentially fallen through a universe crack. So, we have the oil. That's excellent. What do we need next? Oh, we need some of this acid in the pot. That's why that acid exists, again for the secret ending. And I think we need some oil in the pot too. Okay. need to. I can double check my ingredients in the PC space because I've totally forgotten. This is like quite a weird, difficult puzzle where you've got to make some soup to please an entity, essentially. Oh, then of course we shall check out the pink door as well. Thank you. Okay, we'll charge the emergency hammer and then I'll check the soup stuff. I think this is one of the first ever sort of environments that I had parallax scrolling on. It might be, I can't remember in Spiderbro 1 if I ever used that. Sawyer's back. Does that mean we can't get to the soup recipe? I hope not. Okay. So we've got the green leak because that is the pool of green goop, the green acidic goop out the pipe. We put in the green broccoli, that's the broccoli. We put in the yellow dough, that's the plastic explosive. We put in the sparkling juice, that's the stuff from the pool. And we put in the stock grease, which is the oil. So we've got everything. Now we can start cooking, which is excellent. Let's get out of here. Oops. But since we've got a charged emergency hammer and we've got that key, there's one thing I do want to show off. It's like a secret. It's a secret death in the game, essentially. Not only do you have to have the pink key to have it, but you've got to also have a charged hammer. I imagine if a lot of players had the pink key, they would have probably gone in there before the boss battle, before you get the hammer, so that they'll kind of miss out on this. And a lot of players won't have even gotten the key at all. Okay, so instead of interacting with the entity, instead what we're going to do is break open this yellow crack. And here we get a secret death, starring everyone's favourite owl. So, for those who don't know, there is a adventure puzzle game called King's Quest V. I think it's the fifth one. This motherfucking owl's in. This motherfucking owl. It's called Cedric the Owl, and he's sort of almost like Jar Jar Binks of a video game. He hangs around all the time, makes useless comments, and does very little to help. And just if you think, like, you know, Navi out of Ocarina of Time is bad, then you haven't met this motherfucking owl. Go play some King's Quest. My days. Yeah, and you've got to wait for his dumbass animations to come in every map. Oh my god. No shade on Sierra Games. Obviously, I am aping the fuck out of Sierra Games, but and I can see what they were trying to do with Cedric. Unfortunately, he's a little annoying, and in that game, I feel it'd be a slightly better game if maybe you could switch him off. I don't know, But yeah, that's a cheeky jab at Sierra, a titan of gaming that I could only hope to sort of achieve. So I don't mean anything by it. Roberta Williams did excellent work. I'm nowhere near as talented as her. So this is part of getting to the secret ending, is using these entity keys on the coloured doors and interacting with the entity. Now you're going to be like, what the hell is that? And that's a good question. We cannot comprehend what it is. So it's some sort of weird mystery object beyond this universe. So we're going to cook the soup. Why not? The thing is that we can only cook it for like 10 seconds. On top of, not only do you have to get the right ingredients, and there are some ingredients that can totally mess it up, such as putting the ink in there, but you can only cook it for so long. Oh, my bad. I need to turn the oven on first. There we go. Cool. Yes. Okay. So, you'll know if you've done that right if the soup's orange. If the soup's green, it's been on for too long, or you've messed up the ingredients. One or the other. And if you leave it on for too long, it'll set the cooker on fire. You don't want to do that. Another thing we can do whilst in here is get more Happy Shopper points. I think we should have used the T card for it there. There's this points generator app on here. It's a little bit illegal, but hey, whatever. What's a little forgery? I'm sure the Happy Shopper folks don't mind being defrauded. Okay, hammer and chisel. Can break that that cracked bar. And we need a screwdriver to be able to proceed there. So there we'll have to go to the Happy Shopper person. So here's Plumie, and we've had the upselly, annoying retail type. We've had the retail person who couldn't give a fuck and wants to die, and now we've got the person who flirts. I'm not trying to put people who do retail into camps. So yeah, Plume is very, very friendly with the main character here. Oh god. Forgive me, I have a cold, it's awful. Okay, so, oh, it's the Happy Shopper points, obviously. So we'll get the wrench. Well, we committed fraud. We paid the price. I guess that's the end of the Happy Shopper puzzles, but we get to keep the wrench. So cool. So at this point, you probably would be like, what the hell is going on here? It just looks like you're doing random ass things. It's all coming to a point here. We need to get that train working, the minecarts. And this is how we do it. There is an application on the PC. The PC that's down there. that gives you hints onto this. It's about, I think it's called Power Rail, and it'll tell you, oh, the wheels need oiling, all this other stuff. So we will oil the wheels. Okay, we used up all the oil. We're going to avoid all the possible bits that could kill us. Okay, so we should be ready to go now, I think. Okay. Cool, so we're ready to go. And the ladders, we needed those for climbing onto the minecart in the first place. And this will then lead us to the second boss, which is against the worm, and is a totally different style of boss, and then later gets repeated sort of at the end of the game. So this one at least has a little bit of progression, and even though it could be considered tough, I think it's very easy to die. I think because it's short and there's not that much to interact with, you can sort of like understand. So here the worm is going to be chasing after us, going from minecart to minecart. If we hang about in a minecart a little too long, the worm will just eat us automatically. So we've got the key for the end of the level there, but that isn't going to help us here. As you know, a mirror will take out the worm, but we don't currently have a mirror. But that's okay, because we're hopefully going to get the tools to create a mirror. So, and that's what this puzzle essentially is. You have to simply jump to the end minecart whilst collecting all this junk, and then make a mirror out of the junk that you've collected during this boss battle and beforehand. And you've got to be quick, otherwise the worm will kill you. So we use the glue stick with the wrapper, and then we use the droid tracker with the wrapper, and that then makes a mirror that we can use against the worm. I think it's better than the first boss. It might be, again, still a little bit too hard, I'm not too sure, but I think with a little bit of trial and error you could understand what you're meant to do, especially with the knowledge that you need a mirror. This is also my first sort of rodeo doing like vehicles and minecarts and stuff like that, which was an interesting experience. What you're essentially seeing there is a giant player on a walk route, like just continuously walking. The background is the only thing that's actually moving. The minecart isn't, so it's a bit of an illusion. My engine doesn't actually have support for vehicles or anything like that. So, do we have the emergency hammer? Oh, we didn't charge the emergency hammer. Oh dear. Well, that's going to make the bet next. That's. Okay, so we've already ruined our chance. The soup, the soup is now useless. We should have charged the emergency hammer for the sub level. So sadly, I'm not going back. We've just ruined the chance. We will cover the other ending later anyway. I'm just going to cheat my way there. So compared to the second sub-level, the third sub-level is actually quite easy. All you need is a charged emergency hammer, and you can take out the cyan crack, and then you need the soup, which is the main puzzle, really. You know, the complicated soup making. You give that to the entity, and you'll get another key. Sadly, I messed up and didn't charge the emergency hammer again, so yeah, we're getting kicked out. And again, the keys that you would have got from the second and third sub-level, those then in turn get us through doors and give us other objects. Those objects you can't really fathom what they are. Okay, so this is level 4. Bit of a weird one. Shocker. It's like the theme of this game, it seems. So here we've got this this older version of an urban pacifist. It's noticed you were never scrubbed down from level 3, so it's giving you a decontamination. So this guy's going to go through every single one of your pocket items now and decide, can you continue with this or not? This was low-key a way of basically trimming the fat in terms of the player's inventory, because you could have potentially collected a lot of items that from this point on would be completely useless. And not only did I want to not confuse the player, but it would also incur a lot more work for me keeping track of possible combinations that would make sense, but you don't want actually the player to be able to do. And that's one of the reasons why level 3 was I probably spent the longest time on, because I kept on finding combination of things, such as the pen and the plate, for example. That's how that thing got in there. I suddenly realised, oh god, why would you use a printer? You'd just try using the pen on the plate in that case. So it was that sort of like, this feels like it's going beyond scope sort of feeling, which made me want to sort of trim the fat, really, and not only make it easier on me, but potentially make it easier on the player. They also take away your super user do application. So, we're having things taken off us now. A lot of these items you could either not end up with in the first place, obviously, or there's lots of opportunity in the worm boss battles to you can pretty much use anything that you've got in your pockets against the worm, and if you use it, it'll just fly away. Essentially, you'll have just essentially dropped it. So yeah, by this point in the game, it's entirely reasonable that the players' inventories would be different amongst all different players in some sort of way. So I just really needed to get that under control, and this droid seemed like a good way of doing that, especially since the game already had themes of like, you know, oh, automation, we're going to automate all this. And it's come across the thing you can't understand. Okay, cool. Also, compared to level 3, level 4 is sort of a shorter one. It's I wanted a hard puzzle here. Not one that could necessarily kill you, but one that was like, you know, I'm stuck in this area, what do I do, sort of thing. Bring the scope down and channel the player into one thing. Unfortunately, that thing that I chose was blowing up a nuclear reactor, so unless you've got like a physics degree in nuclear energy or something, you may not really fully understand what's going on here. So I was kind of inspired by a few nuclear disasters, really. Chernobyl's a big one, but there's a few others that have occurred that have piqued my interest as well. And I thought, yeah, let's try make this as sort of like accurate as I possibly can, which probably resulted in a confusing puzzle, unless again you know exactly how nuclear energy works. So again, another example of just going too far with an idea, way too far. But our first thing is to go into PC space. Oh, we've got to get this open app. And that open app will give us more access because we can use it to open barriers with. One thing we should definitely do is charge our emergency hammer, otherwise we will die at some point. Luckily this guy hasn't got any more tricks up his sleeve, and we've already given super duper user rights to our mirror, so too late. So I always think I've got to combine that with something. Okay, it looks like Plumie's taken over the shop. Oh, we're on the blacklist. We're banned. Okay, this bit of the puzzle, we have to get through sort of like a maze. And there are some aspects of this puzzle I like, and some I don't like, and I'll go through them. I like the idea of having the arrow maze, and if you were to try to go against one of these arrows in a direction that you shouldn't go, you disappear. So you've always got to cross the direction it's pointing, otherwise you'll just get sent back to the start. And I like that, as you'll see later on, you get something to turn the arrows about so you can gain access to different areas. Hey Catty. So we'll interact with Catty here. Catty talks about DLC and gives you a piece of DLC. Now this is where I begin to not like this puzzle, because it's very vague what's happened here and not super obvious. However, the people with the I guess the 4-figure IQs, so that's like one person, may have connected the dots with this thing here, which we haven't interacted with. So this is a puzzle game, essentially. You got to give the right answers, but one of the correct answers is locked behind DLC, and that's what we've just received now. So if you'd have played this beforehand, the right answer would not have been... Yes. One of the answers... The answer for this question would not have been available, and that's as far as you would have gotten. And the only way to sort of tell, I guess, that this is DLC is because the answer radio waves is also DLC, and it tells you if you use that answer, oh, that's a DLC answer. So yeah, just not too obvious at all, and a bit too vague, just too far once again. But you get this application, and of course, before more recent updates, you wouldn't have even known you would have gained an item in that case. One final problem with this puzzle, again, just goes with how it was sort of implemented. I should have done a better job, because now we've got this case where you can switch these things around. So we go over here and we can switch this one around, except how to do that isn't obvious either. You've got to look at the item, kind of similar to how you do with the disconnect, and it doesn't really make too much sense. And I don't know. Interesting puzzle idea. The way it was implemented, not too great, and a bit too obtuse to the player. So yeah, because you spent a lot of time in PC space on this level, it kind of suffered with all the problems that PC space had, at least initially, with the whole not seeing when you get pocket items. So again, you'd have opened that box and not really understood what the hell was going on. So that's an application called Xenon Poison, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about nuclear reactors, but Xenon ain't good for a nuclear reactor, and if you don't sort of operate your reactor correctly, let's just say, you can end up with something called Xenon poisoning. You've got to shut down the reactor. So, since we've got to blow up the reactor, we're going to put the Xenon right in, baby. So, settings. This is going to be... Oh god, how am I going to... blah, blah. Before I do this, I'm going to save, you know, because I might mess this up entirely. I don't know. Sorry, bro. Oh, another thing to notice, the conveyor belt of heads here, they're making a lot of these droids that they think that's going to go so well, even though it's killed a whole floor of their staff. And there's that purple one that the purple guys made, going rogue, so yeah, maybe not a great idea. So with livefeed.c you can actually see the reactor whenever you want, and that's it. I did try even down to like kind of how it looked and how the inevitable explosion would look. I tried to stay as scientifically accurate as possible. Again, not for the appreciation of normal folk, clearly, because like nobody really knows what that looks like, so they're not gonna care. It's just an obsession to details that perhaps didn't matter, and not paying attention to the details that did really let this game down. Anyway, let's do this puzzle. So we're going to do custom mode, I think, and then we get to add the Xenon poison. Okay, so the reactor is currently at a high enough output to burn off the Xenon, but we can change that if we go to macros and decrease power. So if we do that twice, then we'll start to get a Xenon build-up in the reactor. And now it's telling us to switch the reactor safety off, which is sort of like the safety controls, so we'll do that. We've now got manual controls. What do we do here? What do we do here? I think we go into rod control and we pull the rods up. That'll try try and increase the power to get the reactor not to be stalled. And hopefully burn off the remaining xenon. Now you'll notice it said about a water pump error. Now before, there was a version of this puzzle where you also had to like sabotage the water pump, but I did rip that out. I just considered it way too much, even though it's still way too much, this puzzle. Especially since it's all on a PC or in PC space, which is just weird. Okay, so we did the thing, yeah. Oh yeah, we need to push the emergency stop. So, like, similar to Chernobyl, I guess, the emergency stop doesn't work properly. And it causes an explosion. So yeah, that little bit that you saw there, I tried to make it look as accurate as I possibly could. But now you'll notice our friend Spiderbro is back, and that's because we're in an area of high radiation. And because our friend Spiderbro is back, we can't actually enter the pockets anymore. It's as though it was the first game. If you've just got the thing, then Spiderbro will use it with the thing. However, there isn't much to do here other than get through the reactor. If you hang about too much, you will just die of radiation poisoning, so you've got to keep moving. So we just walked through the reactor, perfectly reasonable thing to do. The only thing to do in the room here is to interact with the purple crack. If you don't have the hammer, you will die. If we had the green key, we'd go in there, but we don't, so we'll just move on. And here we've gotten away from the radiation enough to become Spiderbro again. So here we've also got a cat. We don't want to get too close to it there. And more conveyor belt action. Here this is the end of the level, and well, we do have the key. We could just go there, but there's also this kind of this was entirely copied from Beneath a Night Sky. It's got a funny cart scene, and I thought, well, why don't I have a funny optional cutscene too? So that's essentially what this is. Random open door here, and we can go to it, and not only do we get more context and clue as to what's going on in the story, to be fair, but yeah, it's just a break from the puzzles. You know, if you do things right, you can get an achievement. There's two possible achievements, one for if you get Sawyer off the hook, or another if you basically just do what Beatty says and find Sawyer guilty. So here you're mistaken for the defense. And yeah, this entire concept I just lifted from Beneath a Steel Sky, because I just thought it was really cool, really cool. That game has had a profound effect on a lot of the stuff that I do. I did my best to also pack this with as many jokes I could think of. So here they're arguing over who should bring the defendant in. They get the robot to do it. That's the spirit beta. We'll just fix it post-release in an update. So, because BT isn't actually a judge or a lawyer, he has no idea what he's doing here. But he's trying to scapegoat everything that's gone wrong with the conflict with the purple bugs, essentially on Sawyer. And it's all because Sawyer's a bit of a pushover. So here we get the choice. One of the achievements is incredibly easy. We just say Sawyer's guilty, and then it all goes away. If you select not guilty, you get more choice and stuff like that. We're going to get this over with. We're just going to select guilty. But there's I think there's 2 other possible ways to get the save Sawyer and prove his innocence, but yeah, we're just gonna go with guilty, I think. Okay, so everybody's on board except Sawyer, but oh well. BT gets a little intimidating there. So yeah, that's the quickest way out of this bit if you ever regret entering the door and think, oh god. You can also, I think we can, I don't know. We're out of here now, it doesn't matter. BT trying to cover his tracks again. Then we get the Conspirator Award, because we conspired against Sawyer. Oops. Let's go to the final level. Okay, so our friend the worm has returned. Unlike all the rest of the levels, there's actually no sub-level between this one. There's only 3 possible keys you can pick up, so yeah. And this is the final level. Obviously, if we had the blue key, we'd be able to get through the blue door, but we don't. And a lot of this level has to be done sort of on one run. This is the last save point you're ever going to see in this game. So, we can grab the battery. There's that. You can also use the battery on the robot and it will kill you. For once we actually pick a piece of clothing off this rail, it's because there's an extra piece. Back into the purple universe. Oh, look at that, it looks like they were kind of making their own tracks. But yeah, essentially here we're trying to get the minecart working. Cool, we have that. And since we don't have the ladders this time, we have to use a glue stick. And think that's it in this room. We'll save just before we go. Because there is one death I want to show, because I think it's kind of funny. And it'll be coming up on this minecart. You get a choice of which direction you want to go. Only one of them is the correct way, the other two lead to death, so I'm just going to show one of the deaths there. Going back, I would have probably split this map up into several maps. It takes an awfully long time to load sometimes, especially if you're on like a slower PC. But here we can attach the control panel to the minecart. And then we'll get a choice. We want to go right. Now this might be like where it becomes abundantly apparent that I'm a terrible artist, because I could never get this to look great, to be honest with you, the minecart sort of changing direction. It looks like ass. Still today it looks terrible. But we fall through a giant grey portal, and we'll see a good friend of ours from the first game. The trash fish. Yay! So yeah, at this point, as you can see, there's just like giant universe holes opening up, and that's not great, and that's because of the worm. And this is the side of the plot I probably didn't effectively communicate at all, is that the worm is, because it keeps on appearing in places, to get there it's actually breaking through universes and stuff like that, and it's causing the multiverse to sort of merge together. So yeah, we're doing multiverse stuff now, baby, let's go. So yeah, this was never really effectively communicated, and that's entirely what the secret ending's about, ironically. So yeah, just yet another failure in storytelling that I ruled over. Okay, so we'll go left. This time we'll do the right thing. So the worm's back, and I think this is like the only time we actually, in the entire game, we see the worm, see that the power that the worm got also can break through universe cracks. So, and you never actually see it have a negative detriment effect as well, so there's just two plot points that were just completely ignored. But here we get to learn something important. Hammer use against the worm. Kinda looks like he nearly died then, huh? So, the shocking thing here is that PC space itself is its own universe. So, we end up in PC space. Instead of being a computer-generated character, though, this time we are... I'm pretty sure all of the things will. So we need to go around and collect quite a few things before we can move on. We have to make sure we collect everything as well. Otherwise, we won't be able to do the final boss battle. We absolutely need to charge our hammer as well. Just a few more things we're gonna need. We finally use the photo booth. The space fish gives us a fish. Yeah, I know. Oh, no, that isn't how that works, is it? There we go. So we got the fish grease, which kind of looks like a turd, but whatever. We'll roll with it. I don't think there's anything else we need. Let's give the final boss a go. So once again, we're oiling the wheels of our carts. Once again, Xander made a sound for it. What a legend. Okay, let's get going. So, yeah, you can smell what's coming up. Another sort of minecart boss battle. First, we've got, I think, like a cool cutscene of going through all of like the universes, or at least a lot of them. So this was an interesting sequence to coordinate, sort of like, you know, like having the music sort of come in and out as well. I thought was kind of cool. Here you get like a glimpse of Cedric if you haven't seen him before. The worm ran over Millie as well, which is like a very brief plot point. We'll be able to go there in the ending, the secret ending, but yeah, if you're just gunning for the normal ending, that's just such an incredibly brief sort of like, whoa. So here we get the clue that the multiverse is sort of like imploding. It's a plot point that I should have completely emphasised much earlier on in the game, instead of just sort of covering it at the end there. The whole like, and I should have made it a bit more of and I should have told the fucking player, is what I'm trying to say. I should have, sometimes there's value in telling the player. I'm very much a show rather than tell sort of person, but yeah, no. Some things you've just got to tell the player. Okay, we can use the clamp here. Cool. So instead of last time, instead of running away from the worm, we are heading towards the worm. We're going to confront this mofo. Okay, what did we get? We got the glue. Terrific. So once again, it's mirror time. Is that the photograph? Oh, I just realised something I totally forgot to pick up. Oh my god, I hate my puzzles. Oh, I'm all the way back here. Okay, I'll probably just fast forward this bit for you guys, you know. You don't have to see this shit again. this was the thing I forgot. Yeah, I didn't pick this up. I don't know why I didn't pick that up. Okay. Cool. It seems here I did offer the player to skip the minecart ride so they didn't have to watch that whole sequence again. Now, I'm going to tell a secret here. You would normally ask, why didn't you just put that to the escape key like everything else in the game? And that's because, for whatever reason, probably my own terrible programming, it just didn't work. It always broke the final boss battle was always bugged in some sort of weird way if you skipped the cutscene using the escape key. So, yeah, we just had to not offer that, basically. So we chose to put it in a menu as well, and I guess it makes it very obvious for the player so they can, you know, if they weren't aware that you could skip stuff by pressing escape, yeah, they can do it like that. Okay, so we merge that with photograph, and then we merge the photograph with the paddle. And then once again, it's mirror versus worm. Alright, we did it right this time. End of the tracks. And this is sort of like the final stand sort of moment. So, based on what we saw earlier, we can now use the hammer and we can take out the worm. Yay! This is where it gets narratively a little confusing for some. If you didn't pick up the time-travelling trousers, which require water to activate, you would drown here and die, and you'd have to go back and do the boss battle again. But if you've got the time-travelling trousers, then you are sent back in time, and we are sent just before the start of Spiderbro 1. This here is the entrance to the secret ending. We're not going to do that just yet. We'll move on. And if you let yourself become the purple guy, obviously you can't open your pockets anymore, so this puzzle's kind of ruined for you. So yeah, if you want the secret ending, you've got to be... Don't walk too far, you've got to be on the ball. Here we are at the beginning of Spiderbro. Now you might be wondering, why the hell did that rain turn me purple? It's because it's irradiated, and one of the signs says that, and once again, it's the whole radiation brings out the purple bug in you. But here we are right at the beginning of Spiderbro, and it's the mirror. And that's the end of the game, or at least the normal ending. The normal ending is that it's kind of like a loop. You know, you go back in time. The events of Spiderbro 1 happen, and then kind of directly after that, you end up in Spiderbro 2, as you'll see after the credits. It's the credits itself that kind of links the two together. Again, perhaps too much of a confusing thing to introduce right at the end there. But whatever, I thought it was kind of cool. So you took a bunch of events that happened in the first game and essentially made it the credits for this game. Oh god, it's me. I'm going to go for a quick bathroom break. I'll be back. Okay, so this is sort of like the post game, I guess. You get a bunch of awards and stuff. It calculates your time. If you manage it under 3 hours, you get the Refund Chaser award. If you do 0 saves, you get an award. If you do 0 deaths, you get an award. If you do every death, you get an award. So, awards to be handed out. Oh, and if you don't use the cheat sheet, you also get an award. Cool. But you'll be noticing, New Game Plus, We'll be coming back to that in just a second. What I am going to do is quit. This here is some super secret information. This is can I go properties? You gonna allow it? Cool. We go to launch options and we can go dev mode. And that will allow us to cheat. This is not the way the game's intended to be played. One of the ways of telling immediately if you're in dev mode or not is if the mouse cursor's up. If you're not in dev mode, the mouse cursor will be hidden, but because it's kind of useful to be able to point to individual pixels and stuff like that to find coordinates and stuff, yeah, we have the mouse pointer sort of up in and that. But what we are going to do is that we're going to use developer mode to cheat our way to the secret ending, so I can just show you that without having to complete the whole game again. Oops, yep, okay, that's fine. Because as you can see, it saves right at the end and it forces us back to the game. That's what's going to happen here. So here you get given another cheat sheet, and that's specifically for the secret ending if you feel like, if you are if you are a masochist and if you want to be so cruel to yourself. And here we are. Whoa, what the hell happened there? That was a weird bug. I don't know what that was about. But we're back at the game, beginning of the game again, essentially. Cool. So what we're going to do, the reason for running in developer mode is so we can access the console. And we can okay, so this has taken us to the end of the game. Hopefully it's given us all awesome. Coolio. And for the secret ending, to open that, we have to have these items. These items, of course, are essentially swapped for keys that you earn in the sub-levels by completing puzzles. And similar to the droid boss, you put these on the cross. And that will unlock a door for us. So the secret ending is all to do with saving the multiverse and making sure that the worm's damage has been sort of fixed, I guess. So this mystery bug starts giving you items, a lot of which are bottles. Unfortunately, one of the bottles is like empty, it's leaked, and the guy will freak out and just run away. So the crux of the final puzzle basically hinges around filling that empty bottle with, I believe it's purple. The liquid of each bottle will close the universe, so to speak, once we get there. Before we get there, we've got to sign all our rights away. And then we get to go. So here's the multiverse. You can see the damage is pretty significant. It's all white and there are all these open holes. And yes, I guess if we were to right now use the cyan spray bottle on the cyan hole, it'd close, but we don't want to do that just yet because we need to make some purple. Okay. So what we can do is we can make it blue. These are all areas of the game that you have visited before. We haven't visited this area in particular because this is part of sub-level 3. But if we go into the purple one now, it'll be like a recognisable area. So we want to add some of that to the bottle, and then I think it's the blue portal we need to look out for now, but I'm not entirely sure where it is. This is just an endless map of... well, it's not endless, but it's a completely white map. Some might call that lazy, and you could be right there actually. We were on a time limit. Right, here's the blue hole. Excellent. Speaking of time limits, this final puzzle does have a time limit. It's not too obvious, but it does have a time limit. So we use some of Millie's blood there. Have you got out to say for yourself? Oh, Millie never found their key in the end, huh? Alright, so now we can go about saving the universe. Just using the correct spray bottles with the correct holes. Obviously, it does make some of the universes harder to find the further you go, because... yeah. even looking for? Yellow and white. Okay, I know that white's over this way. Maybe down now. Oh boy. This game's a piece of shit. Far I am in the map now. Alright, cool. Obviously, like, it sucks to be you if you're not the developer of this game. I guess you're just stuck. This ending is obtuse and ridiculous and badly designed and quite honestly rushed. Right, we're just looking for yellow now. Come on, yellow. Can't be that hard to find you. Okay, so that's what happens when we fail. The universe just collapses in on itself. And at this point, I don't know whether I've got the fucking patience to bother showing the ending. If you care that much, I suggest you just watch the walkthrough, because yeah, looking back, I've got not very many nice things to say about this game. It does feel like my Phantom Menace. I took everything in a direction that was completely alienating to a lot of people, and whereas, yeah, in a technical way, there's a lot of things that have stepped up, such as, like, you know, the size of the environment, the amount of things you can interact with, you know, like, I tried to inject a lot more humour, you know, I added pointless shit like awards and, you know, what have you. So, yeah, a mixed bag. Technically, some good improvements, plot-wise and puzzle-wise, some horrible shit that just probably turns players away. Going forward, our games are going to be better than this shit, okay? And that's because basically I won't be writing them, for the most part, at least, or at least I'll have less of an involvement in writing them. Now, this brings the question: what is the future for Spiderbro? And I have said on a previous video that I consider the license, like, open, just do what the hell you want. I'm not going to, if someone has a burning desire to make a Spiderbro game or something, I'm not actually going to stop them or sue them or anything. I've open sourced the games and they're completely free now at this point. They're just odd curios for people to laugh at, maybe. And going forward, I'll be focusing on different franchises, I think. With that said, there is going to be a Spiderbro 3, because I came up with an idea. It's better than this game. So there will be a follow-on to this game. It will be another free-to-play thing. I'll be doing all the crappy art again, so and at this point I'm beyond caring. So it's going to be wild and weird, and it probably won't make much sense, but I don't care. I'm kind of making it for me and not for you at that point. Sorry. But if you are, like, because I also said that I'd open source the franchise, and, you know, I don't really care. You can do what you want with it. If, on the small chance there is someone out there already creating a Spiderbro 3, don't let my crappy ass announcement at the end of this put you off whatsoever. As far as I'm concerned, there could be 2 Spiderbro 3s. I don't give a shit. In fact, I'd be thrilled if someone like was able to fix this mess. So yeah, that's. I think that just sums this up. I think this game is a shame. I think I made some great strides in the right direction, and then at the same time made some strides in a direction that probably didn't help, and perhaps being too much of a Sierra game wasn't the best idea. You know, having the deaths and all this other things that have debatably not aged well in those puzzle games, and it's the bits that people find the most frustrating. And that's the side I leaned into with this. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's all I've got to say on this. The next game that's going to come out from us is not going to be Spiderbro 3 anyway. It's going to be a paid project, and it's called Beneath the Night Sky, and it's really cool. It's really shaping up well. I'm not doing the art. That's the first thing I've got to say. I am not doing the art. I'm strictly a sort of game director, coder position here. It's my job to take everybody else's art and cram it together in a package, rather than create the art myself. So yeah, I'm not ready to show anything just yet, but I'm looking forward to the day that I am ready to show stuff from that game, because I think it's going to be really cool. Stay safe if you're in America, or Palestine, or Ukraine, or anywhere in the world that's full of conflict, and I hope you have a great day.